Come forth. This has been an interesting year, and we've kind of revisited 25 years ago of our experience, you know. And of course, we were in Zimbabwe, which at the time was doing well, and it was a very, very memorable show. The two African shows we did in Zimbabwe and Ivory Coast were both two of the most memorable shows of our lives, really. You know, they were just amazing shows. And yeah, we're glad to come to get back. And I got a nice letter from some South African musicians.
Woo! Very cool.
Yeah. We sort of, it was a tipping point, you know. My kids are grown up now, so when they were little, we couldn't get around as much as you'd like, you know. And so last year they all kind of left the house. Some are back already, but but I got a lovely letter from him and a few other South African musicians saying, "Hey, come on down. We've been listening to your music and we'd like to have you." And it was just very heartfelt. We said, "Hey, we got to get back here, you know." And of course, Nelson Mandela's passing, which really meant so much to the whole world and to us too, you know, being here in '88. And it was kind of a pivotal moment for us. And we stumbled onto the crossroads of history, you know, by accident, I suppose. And so it's exciting. It's beautiful here. We've been here for a few days. I've gotten around, seen over the town, and it's just lovely. And we just hope to play well and entertain people and you know, give them a great time tonight. So it's a funny question. I think old people think it's not as relevant, but if I talk to my son, he's a music fanatic, and it's once again it's a centerpiece of identity and, you know, who you are, the groups you like. He will argue with me like crazy over the value of this group compared to another, you know. And he just sounds like me when I was 20 years old, you know. So, and the nice thing that's happened is that what with the fact that it's very fascinating, because I'll say, "Hey man, what's your favorite Dylan song?" Say, "Changing of the Guard." Say, "Changing of the Guard." That was kind of like a B-side of the single. So that like a Rolling Stone. I like Rolling Stones, all right, but Changing of the Guard. And the reason is all that history of music landed on their heads at once. Whereas for guys like me, it was pieced out, literally group by group, record by record, week by week, month by month. And so we immersed ourselves in it in a very different way. And I think that we were very aware that generationally which acts fell where. But if you're young today, all of those things fell on your head at one time. And my son will go and listen to Tom's band, Rage Against the Machine, and then he'll listen to the Billy Joel record, you know. And he doesn't discern. He just says, "That's music I like, that's music I like." I meet a lot of kids. I meet young kids who know everything about our band, and I meet young kids who know nothing about us, right? So it depends on. It's sort of your choice at this point, you know. It's less. It seems to be less culturally appointed, right, and more just it's there. What are your friends turning you on to? What are you stumbling onto? They make their own pizza, you know, out of it, and it's kind of great. And you know, we're very controlling, you know, when we were young, because that was sort of the way people thought it was supposed to be. But then we went to South America a few months ago, and they said, "What's going on with us down here? We only haven't been there once 25 years ago. Who's really going to know our music?" And the crowds came in, and they knew like everything. And I realized with the internet, once you're anywhere, you're everywhere. And so we've kind of embraced it as a way of spreading the gospel of our band, you know, and we use it quite a bit. And it was amazing how I mean, you would not have been able to have from the response, you couldn't have been able to tell the difference between the crowd in Santiago, Chile and New Jersey. You know, it was really quite incredible. So, but there are a lot of different things that draw people's attentions. My youngest son was very much into gaming, you know, and that seemed to be a bigger part of his life than music for quite a while. But it varies, you know, it really varies. I don't know. I think it's just a bigger world, there's more choices, but people seem to me to be as passionate about music. I think there's much more great music out there. There seems to be fewer great albums, perhaps because of the way the music is delivered. But I come across great music all the time. People no one's heard of, people nobody knows made records that you go, gosh, there should be 500,000 people listening to this record or this music. You know, so it's a different world. The live world has remained somewhat the same, you know, and that it's still based on you have to come out and sweat and teach your, you know, and lead your band, and that's still a little, maybe because it's nature, it remains somewhat old school, you know. All the skills you learned from the 50s and 60s and 70s great band leaders remain very relevant if you want to have a long life. I think one of the funniest things from this record, somebody said we were one of the few artists that had four #1 albums in 4 decades. Had #1 album in 4 decades. Because if you last long enough, but a part of that is because we played and played and played. And we continue to play and play and play and put on a certain kind of show. And it keeps people engaged with who you are, what you're obsessed with, what you're concerned about. You know, it just, it keeps you very close with your fans, which I've enjoyed tremendously. It may be eventful. Sure, it's historical. There's been too much history here to say we're historical. So I'd say it will be eventful. We'll try to make it eventful for the people that are here.
Is it special for you to be here?
Yeah, I think because we came, it's been nice to return to the places we came in, or close to the places we came in '88, and see what's happened. You know, really a miracle happened here. I mean, as amazing it is for us to have an African-American president in the United States, which is something I thought I would never live to see. Imagine having an African-American president who was in prison for 27 years, came out and became president. You know, that's impossible. And then you kind of have the transition that you had. So on, like, you know, so, I mean, so it's really incredible. It's special for us to be here, you know. We had a lot of hopes when we came down here in '88, and I know times are tough for a lot of folks here. They are in the States too. And we always, countries continue to have their problems, but it still was an incredible transition and change, you know, so it's nice to be able to come